My 6-year-old daughter sat cross-legged on the floor coloring in her Disney princess book she was humming to herself, blissfully unaware that her cousins were boarding a plane to Orlando without her. The living room was quiet, too quiet. I stood at the kitchen counter, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee that had long gone cold. My phone buzzed again. Another photo, this time it was Maddie and Chloe and matching Minnie Ear steer arms around Grandma, grinning in front of Cinderella's castle. The caption read, 3 generations of magic, 3 not 4, not 5, just them. No one had called to tell me, not even a heads up. I found out when Chloe accidentally tagged me in an Instagram story with sparkly mouse ears and a caption that said, best trip ever, wish everyone could have come. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I didn't even reply. I just stared at the screen until it blurred and my coffee turned cold in my hands. Then my daughter looked up from the floor with her big curious eyes and asked, Mommy, do you think I'll ever meet Elsa for real? Maybe baby, maybe someday. She smiled like that was enough, but it shouldn't have been. When I was growing up, my mom, Elaine, was the glue of our extended family. She organized birthdays, summer road trips, even themed family reunions where everyone wore matching shirts with awkward clip art on them. She used to say things like, family is everything, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for my grandkids. But somewhere along the line, everything started to mean everyone but my daughter. My daughter's name is Lily. She's my only child. Sweet, smart, a little shy, says thank you even when you hand her something as small as a sticker, and for some reason, my mother decided she didn't count as a real grandkid. I used to excuse it, she probably forgot to add her to the Christmas pajama list. She didn't mean to only post pictures of the other cousins, she probably just forget. But how do you forget a who calls you grandma and draws you hearts and crayon? When Lily was born, I wasn't married. I was 23, still in college, still figuring things out. My mom was disappointed, a word she used like a knife wrapped in linen. She held Lilian's in the hospital once, then handed her back like she was doing me a favor. It's not her fault, she said, but I didn't raise you to end up like this. That was 6 years ago. Since then, she's been at every birthday party for my brother's twins. She's taken Chloe on girls' spa weekends. She bought Maddie a pony, a real one, for Christmas, and for Laylee, last year she gave her a puzzle missing 3 pieces. Said it must have come that way. The Disney trip wasn't the betrayal, it was just the final stamp. I wasn't angry that Lily wasn't invited, I was angry that she was deliberately left out again, and that no one thought we'd notice or care. But Lily noticed. She noticed the new frozen suitcase Grandma gave Maddie. She noticed the group video call that mysteriously lost connection before she could say hi, and she noticed that when my mother finally texted back and said, it was just too expensive to bring everyone. Hope you understand. I didn't try play, I just sipped my coffee. But Lily did something else. She walkatoed the kitchen drawer, pulled out the envelope Travis, my fiancé, had helped her decorate months ago, and said, Mommy said you say that, here's your surprise. I blinked. She held it in her tiny hands like it was something sacred. The envelope was white with crooked glitter letters that read, for Grandma. I had almost forgotten it existed. We made it during a rainy afternoon, back when Lily had asked why Grandma never came to her Dennis recital. Travis had printed something that day. He wouldn't tell me what, just said, it's for when Lily's ready. Apparently, she was. I knelt beside her and asked, are you sure? She nodded. You said people should know when they're not nice. Then she climbed onto the couch, set the envelope gently in my lap, and went back to coloring. And I sat there, staring at it, feeling a storm begin to rise, because whatever was in that envelope wasn't just paper, it was the truth wrapped in glitter. And 6 years of silence. Next morning, I placed the envelope in my purse. I didn't plan to. I told myself it was just for safekeeping, that Lily might change her mind, that she was 6 and didn't fully understand through it of what she was doing. But deep down I knew she understood, maybe not all the details, not the way adults weaponize silence or wrap rejection in polite words, but kids like Lily, they understand absence. They understand when someone's love skips over them and lands gently on everyone else, and when that happens enough times, even a child starts to build her own kind of truth. That afternoon, my mother sent another photo in the family group chat. It was a picture of the kids eating Mickey-shaped waffles. Everyone looked joyful, sun-drenched, and sticky with syrup. Sumin had typed, we'll bring back souvenirs. Lily looked up at me while I read it. Can he tell Grandma something at brunch tomorrow? I hesitated. You can always talk to Grandma. She shook her head. Not talk, just give her the envelope, then she know. There was no resentment in her voice, no bitterness, just quiet determination. That scared me more than if she'd screamed. Brunch at my mother's house had been planned for weeks. A little post-Disney debrief where she'd share the magic with those of us who hadn't gone. My brother and his wife would be there. Cousins would bring their souvenirs and I was expected to smile politely like we always did, except this time there would be an envelope and my daughter in her sparkly purple dress with tiny silver shoes would be the one delivering it. That morning Lily asked if she could curl her hair. She sat perfectly still as I twisted the wand through her soft brown strands. Her eyes were focused on the mirror but she wasn't admiring the curls, she was thinking, I hope she likes my whispered she notice you, baby, I said, I promise, but I didn't know if that was true. We arrived 10 minutes early. My mom's house looked like a page from a Southern Living magazine, perfect porch. Swing oversized wreath, fresh hydrangeas, smell of cinnamon rolls hit us the moment the door opened. Look who's here. My mother beamed, her arms outstretched. Tessa and little Lily. My look at Yush gave Lily a warmed hug, already turning away before Lily could say anything. Then she leaned in and whispered, try to make her feel included today, okay? Like Lily was a responsibility, like I had brought my guilt to brunch in a tutu. I didn't respond, I just followed her in, holding Lily's hand tightly in mine. The table was already set, my brother's kids were seated next to my mom, chattering excitedly about rides and fireworks. In front of each grandchild was a small gift bag, Disney themed, shiny, full. Lily didn't have one. My mom glanced over. Oh, sorry, sweetie, I didn't know you were coming today. I've never missed brunch, I said, trying to keep my voice level, while she smiled too wide. We'll find her something later, Mabe. A cookie. Lily didn't say a word, she just sat quietly, legs swinging under the chair, her envelope pressed between her palms. No one else seemed to notice, but I did. I noticed the way she stopped making eye contact. I noticed the way she folded her napkin 3 times before placing it gently on her lap. I noticed the way she stared at the other kiss goodie bags without blinking. That's when I leaned in close and asked, do you want to give it to her now? She looked up at me, small but steady. Yes. It happened after the dishes were cleared and the mimosas were poured. Lily stood up, slowly walked around the table and stopped right in front of my mother. Grandma, she said softly. My mother looked at her, still smiling but distracted. Yes, sweetheart. Lily held out the envelope. You forgot me again. Mommy said, sometimes people don't remember unless they see it. She placed the envelope gently in my mother's lap and walked back to her chair without another word. The room fell still. My brother raised an eyebrow. His wife looked confused. What is it? My mom asked, laughing awkwardly. No one answered. She peeled open the flap, pulling out the folded paper inside. Ask unfolded it. I watched her face shift slowly, subtly, but unmistakably. Her fingers trembled just slightly as she read the first line, then the second. Then she looked at me. What is this? She asked, her voice tighter now. Why would you? But I didn't answer because it wasn't my voice. She needed to hear it was Lily's, and Lily had already said enough. My mother didn't open the envelope right away. She just stared at it like it was something fragile or dangerous, the kind of thing that once seen can't be unseemly. Sat back down beside me, folding her hands neatly in her lap. Not saying a word, her tiny silver shoes barely touched the floor across the table. My brother shifted in his seat. What's that, Mom? He asked casually, trying to cut through the silence. Some kind of letter, she said slowly, her voice a shade too loud. I didn't move, I didn't breathe, I just watched. My mother looked at me again, not confused now, but defensive, like she already knew. This wasn't a thank you note. She opened the envelope with careful fingers, unfolded the paper and began to read. It wasn't a long letter, just 2 paragraphs, but I knew exactly what it said, because I helped Lily write it months ago, back when she asked me why Grandma never came to her birthday parties. Back when she waited by the door for a card that never came back, when she still made excuses for her, back when I still did too. We wrote the letter together at the kitchen table. I told her she didn't have to give it to anyone, that it was just a way to say what was in her heart, but she'd kept it for this moment. And now Mimother was reading words written in the soft looping handwriting of a 6-year-old. Dear Grandma, I don't know why you don't like me, but I wish you did. Mommy says not everyone is kind, but I still love you. It hurts when you take Maddie and Chloe and not me. I see when you give them things and not me. I know when I'm left out, but Mommy says it's not my fault. I wanted you to know, so maybe you remember next time. Love, Lily. My mother's hand shook as she turned the paper over and saw the second sheet. It was a photo, Lily and me at her last dance recital. She was standing center stage in a blue tutu, beaming. I had captured the moments, curtsied, the one Grandma missed because something came up on the back of the photo. Lily had written in pink marker, I was here, you just didn't see me. My mother's face went blank. She folded the letter back up too neatly, like if she creased the corners tight enough she could erase what she just read. She cleared her throat. This is dramatic. She sages just a child. She's a child who notices. I said quietly, children don't understand These things she does, I said, because she lives them. The table wassailed, even the kids had stopped fidgeting. Maddie stared at the empty gift bag in front of Lily. My brother's wife looked at her lap. No one jumped in to defend her, not this time me. Mother blinked fast like something was caught in her eye. Then she laughed. I didn't need to be guilt-tripped in my own home. No one's guilt-tripping you, I said. She just wanted you to see. She's six, and she knew enough to bring this there. Was a pause, then Lily, in the calmest, clearest voice I'd ever heard from her, said, it's okay if you don't want me, Grandma, but I don't want to be invisible anymore. It landed like thunder. My mother's mouth penned closed. She looked around the table for someone to save her. Some interruption, something, but no one said anything, not even my brother. That silence that was louder than any accusation, because, for the first time, she was forced to see it, all of it, not the envelope, not the photo, but what she had created. A child who had to learn at 6 years old how to speak her pain in writing. We left early. Lily gathered her things without being asked. She tucked the envelope back into her backpack, careful like it was made of glass. No one stopped us at the door. No one tried to smooth it over. There were no hugs, no cheerful "see you next times," just the sound of our footsteps on hardwood and the echo of a truth no one could unhear in the car. Lily was quiet, held the photo in her lap like it was both a shield and a goodbye. Do you think she read it all? Shist. I turned around to face her. I think she heard you. She nodded. Sathan looked out the window, and for the first time she looked like a child who wasn't carrying a question anymore. Evening. Travis got home just after sunset. I was sitting at the kitchen table with Lily, helping her peel off thaw stickers she'd accidentally layered too tightly onto her workbook. Her little fingers worked at the edge, concentrating, focused not on the mess of the day but on this one small task she could control. He kissed the top of her head. Hey, sweetheart. She looked up at him. I gave Grandma my surprise. Travis glanced at me. She did, I said, and she was perfect. He didn't ask what happened next. He didn't have to. He just sat beside her, resting his chin on his hand as she peeled off another sticker. You were brave, he said quietly. Lily nodded once, then she stood, grabbed her backpack, and headed to her room. She didn't say much that night, didn't cry, didn't ask what would happen next, and somehow that silence said more than words could. When the house was quiet, I pulled Travis aside and told him everything, how the brunch unfolded, how Lily stood up, how she spoke, and how my mother didn't folded the letter like it was trash. I said, pacing now, my hands curled into fists, like Lily's pain was an inconvenience. Travis leaned against the counter, arms crossed. She's never going to change, I said. She didn't even look sorry. No, Hesed, she didn't. I looked at him. So what now? Do we wait for her to reach out? Do we act like it didn't happen again? He was quiet for a beat, then he said, we didn't wait for anyone. The next morning, I woke up to a single unread message on my phone. It was from me. Mother, I'm sorry if Lily felt left out. I'll try to be more mindful next time, but I really don't appreciate being gambished like that. You could have talked to me privately. No mention of the letter. No mention of photo. No apology to Lily. Just a soft shuffle of blame disguised as diplomacy. I stared at the screen for a long time, then I placed the phone face down and didn't reply. I didn't need to, because Zethus. Time silence belonged to me. In the days that followed, there were no follow-up calls, no awkward check-ins, no "Mabe, we should talk," just distance, and oddly it felt like peace. I wasn't navigating group chats where Lily's name was forgotten. I wasn't watching holiday plans be made around her absence. I wasn't editing my tone to avoid being too sensitive. We were just living on evening. Lily and I made pancakes in the shape of stars. We burned 3 before getting one right. We laughed, the kind of flaw that bubbles from your belly, unforced, pure, after we cleaned up schist. If we could send the extra ones to our elderly neighbor Miss Rita, because she always gives me strawberry. She wasn't thinking about the envelope anymore. She wasn't waiting by the door for someone who never showed up. She was just being a kid, and that shift, it was like watching something uncoil from around her spirit. That weekend we went to the park as a family. Lily brought her scooter. Travis packed snacks, and I left me phone in the car. We laid on the grass watching clouds drift across the sky. That one looks like a castle, Lily said. I pointed. That one's a pony. That one looks like a mouse, Travis added. Lily laughed. A Mickey Mouse, we allowed with her. She didn't say it with resentment, she just said it like a child, naming shapes in the sky. Like Disney wasn't a wound anymore, like it was just another place, and that was when I knew we had already found our magic. Later that night, while Lily was asleep, I opened the drawer in my nightstand. Inside was the original copy of the letter, the one we'd written together before Lily copied it in her own hand. I smoothed it out, gently reading the words again. I know when I'm left out. There was a time when I thought protecting Lily meant shielding her from the truth, covering it up with soft lies and second chances no one had asked for, but now Eek knew better. Protecting her meant helping her speak. Even if it made people uncomfortable, even if it made me the villain in someone else's story, because my job wasn't to keep the peace, it was to keep her safe. A few days later, Lily came home from school with a paper crown on her head. "We were all princesses today," she said proudly. She didn't need Grandma to tell her she was special. She didn't need matching ears or glitter bags. She had her voice and she had us, and that finally was enough. It had been a week since the brunch, 7 days since Lily placed her envelope on the table like it was a truth wrapped in paper and glitter, 7 days since we walked out of my mother's house and didn't look back on not a single word since, not from her, not from my brother, not from anyone in that room. You'd think that silence would hurt, that it would feel like a wound, but it didn't. It felt like a door had finally closed. And this time we weren't standing in the outside, we were just somewhere else, somewhere better it was. A quiet Sunday morning, the sky was overcast, the kind of gray that made you want to stay in pajamas and build forts out off sofa cushions. Lily was doing just that, arranging blankets and couch pillows into a crooked castle in the living room. I was folding laundry when I heard the mail slot click. At first I didn't think anything of it. A few envelopes slid onto the hallway floor, bills, probably flyers for pizza, but there was something else, a small padded envelope, yellow with glittery stickers clumsily stuck along the back seam. I picked it up, no return address, but Lily's name was written on the front in rounded handwriting, the kind that still hesitates over every Y and loops every L. I walked back into the living room and handed it to her. "You got mail, Princess?" She looked up from her blanket, thrown curious for me. I nodded. She opened it, careful, fingers gentle and deliberate. Inside was a small silver bracelet with a heart charm and a folded note. She read it out loud. "Dear Lily, I'm sorry Grandma was mean. You're my cousin forever. I picked it this with my allowance. I hope you like it. Love, Maddie." Lily looked at the bracelet for a long moment, then slipped it onto her wrist. She didn't ask if she could wear it. She just did. Then she looked up at me. She picked it for me. I nodded. "All by herself, I think." Lily's eyes softened. "That's niceth." That was all she said, but I could see something shift in her expression. A little door cracked open again, not to the past, but to something new, something real. That afternoon I sent Maddie a message, just a simple one. "Thank you for the bracelet. Lee is wearing it right now. You made her smile today." Maddie responded with a heart emoji and said, "I miss her. Can we play sometime without Grandma?" And first time in weeks, I felt something like hope. Later that night, I told Travis about the bracelet. He was quiet for a moment, then nodded. "Kids always know who's real. Do you think Mom put her up to it?" I asked. He shook his head. "Number. That kind of thing doesn't come from guilt, it comes from love." He was right. Maddie had seen it too. Maybe not all of it, maybe not in the same way, but enough to recognize, heard enough to offer a piece of kindness, and maybe enough to start something different. I don't think my mother will ever admit what she did. Not really. People like her, they don't always say I was wrong. They just shift the blame, rewrite the past, pretend it was Alma. Understood. But Lily's letter that can't be undenied, Maddie's bracelet that was proof. That one brave act, one glittering envelope delivered with quiet grace, had cracked the performance, just enough for the truth to get in. The next morning, Lily was brushing her teeth. When I walked past the bathroom, she caught my reflection in the mirror and grinned. "Mommy, yeah, I think I want to make a card for Maddie. That's a great idea, with stickers and glitter, of course." She paused, then added, "But non-envelope, I want to give it to her myself." I smiled because Lily wasn't hiding anymore. She was showing up, not for Grandma, not for approval, but for the people who chose her back. We didn't go back to my mother's house, not for Easter, not for summer BBQ, not for birthdays or let's be civil brunches. There were no explosive fights, no dramatic texts, no storming out, just silence, a slow withdrawal of something that had already been hollow for years, and for the first time in a long time, that silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like space, the kind of space where something better could grow. People always talk about cutting off toxic family like it's a single moment, a slam door, a pointed finger, a final blow, but in real life, it's usually quieter than that. It's a child noticing who didn't show up, it's a gift bag left missing, it's the pause in a grandmother's voice when she says the grandkids and doesn't mean all of them, it's 1,000 little omissions that add up to a truth you can no longer ignore. I kept Lily's letter, the original alone, the first draft we wrote together on lined paper, at the kitchen table, in the same drawer where I keep her hospital bracelet, a lock of her baby hair, and the photo of her first steps. Not because I want to remember the pain, but because I want to remember the moment she decided to name it. She didn't scream, she didn't beg, she just stood there in her little silver shoes, handed over an envelope, and said, "You forgot me again." There was something so clear about it, so calm. It wasn't a demand to be loved, it was a declaration that she had noticed and Once a child sees something for what it really is, there's no putting it back in the box. A few weeks after the brunch, we made new plans. We booked a trip not to Disney, Buto, a quiet coastal town where the sand was soft and the lines were short and Lily could eat 3 scoops of ice cream without anyone telling her to be careful with her dress. We didn't post pictures. We didn't tag anyone. We just lived it fully together, and on the last night, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the tide rolled in over Lily's tiny sandcastle, she looked up at me and said this was the best trip ever. No castles, no princess breakfasts, no big-ticket magic, just us. Back home we started making different kinds of memories, pajamas and pancake Saturdays, handwritten cards mailed to Popol, who always replied, movie nights, under blanket tents lit by fairy lights. Tiny things, small joys, but none of it felt small to Lily because every moment told her you're wanted here. That'st kind of magic we had been missing, and we were making it now, Travis told me one night as we sat watching Lily read herself to sleep. I think I spent too long hoping your mom would change. He nodded me too. I kept thinking, if we just waited long enough, or said the right thing, or gave her more chances, she'd see her. She never wanted to haunt it again. Slow then added, but Lily did. That hit harder than I expected. Baze. He was right. Lily didn't wait for my mother to choose her. She gave her the opportunity. And when it was rejected, she didn't crumble. She just stood up anyways. Some nights I sit at the edge of Lily's bed after she's fallen asleep and think about all the things I almost said at that brunch, all the ways I wanted to scream to defend her, to shake someone into understanding, but in the end, the loudest truth didn't come from me, it came from a child's voice. Calm, clear, certain. I don't want Tobe invisible anymore, and she isn't, not in this house, not in this family. Not in Thea's life. We're building for her. Family isn't just who's on your Christmas card list or who shares your bloodline. Family is who shows up with their whole heart, who sees your child and doesn't measure them against anything but love. Wo reads a letter in a child's handwriting and doesn't look away. I don't know if my mother ever thinks about that brunch. I don't know if she opens the drawer and finds the letter. I didn't know if she'll ever understand what she lost, but I do. She lost the chance to love the best part of me. She lost the kind of magic you don't get back once it walks out your door, holding the hand of Thebe, who finally stopped apologizing for asking to be seen, and Lily shouldn't lose anything. She found something, her voice, her peace, and a bracelet that says, "You're my cousin forever."